Doctor adventures. The King of Sontar.
Out of my way, human scum!
Oh,
Doctor!
Run, Leela, run!
The White Ghosts.
Gandeli, there might be a missile about to strike the surface.
The Crooked Man.
Doctor, stop! I thought I saw someone in the shadows.
The Evil One.
Obey me.
Last of the Colophon.
War wasn't designed to keep visitors out. It was designed to keep something in.
Destroy the Infinite.
You have betrayed our sacred purpose, Doctor.
The Abandoned. Zygon Hunt.
This Doctor is of superior intelligence. When we land, he must be eliminated.
We've got to stop the Zygons.
So hello and welcome YouTubers and Doctor Who fans. You probably were not expecting this, but a lot of people did want me to show my face in my videos, and I'm not going to hide from the shadows anymore, since I will listen to my subscribers obviously. So yeah, I'm not going to hide in the shadows no more. So I'm thinking about doing a lot of these sort of videos in my top 10s and my showcases. If you're a approve of that, then you can put it in the script, the comments, sorry. And if you don't want me to obviously do it, then I'll just go back to my original. But I am thinking of doing these sort of videos with special videos, top 10s, and the showcase series. But it's up to you if you want it. So yes, the video what I'm doing is the Tom Baker Season 3 overview, and I got them all here. This season features the King of Sontar, White Ghost, the Crooked Man, the Evil One, Last of the Colophon, Destroy the Infinite, the Abandoned, and Zygon Hunt. So in the video I'm just going to do an overview of Season 3, talk a little bit about it, and then I'm going to rank all the 8 stories in order. And there's currently been 21 Big Finish stories featuring the 4th Doctor so far, which is the first story was Destination Nerva, and the last one to feature was the long released Zygon Hunt, which I finally got. It took forever to get that one in. It's dispatched to me, that just took forever, but thank God I've got it. So what's so good about the Doctor Who Season 3, which Louise Jameson, who plays as Leela, when she was in the 70s, she didn't get a lot of characterization, not a lot of character development, I find. And with Big Finish, she's got a lot more character development, and I think that's absolutely great, because there is a lot of underwritten companions in Doctor Who, and Nyssa, for example, is definitely one which I really do appreciate. Nyssa, and she's got some great Big Finish stories, and she's got a lot of character development. So yeah, that's what Season 3 does very well. I found Season 1 to not have as much character development, a lot of people said, but Season 3 is definitely strong with the character development with Leela, and Tom Baker is just absolutely on fire. And this season did start with the King of Sontar, which started with a Sontaran story. So yeah, I would definitely recommend Season 3 or any of the Tom Baker adventures, because this is absolutely great. And yeah, if you're a fan of the Tom Baker, I think everyone likes Tom Baker in a certain degree, and I would definitely recommend them. So today I will rank them in order. So I'll give you a jump cut, I'll see you in like literally a second. So now we're going to do, as I said, we're going to rank these stories in order. And I got to admit, there's obviously some fantastic ones, and there's some not very good ones, and yeah, Season 3 is not perfect, unfortunately. There are some, well, there's one story which I find absolutely headachy. It really did actually give me a headache while I listened to it. And in 8th place, last place, I actually thought this one would be in last place just by looking at it and reading the blurb of it. I thought this story didn't really interest me, and in number 8th place is The Abandoned. Unfortunately, this story did not work for me. If you want to know about the plots for all these stories, I'll write all the plots about each of the story in the descriptions. You can have a look at them and see what you think about them. But the reason why The Abandoned was last place for me, even though it's written by Louise Jameson, I I'm not saying that she's a bad writer or anything, because this story did have potential. It did remind me a little bit of Edge Destruction, because it was all featured within the TARDIS. It wasn't like in any outside areas, it was all featured in the TARDIS. But this particular audio, which I hate about it, is constant laughing and screaming in episode 1, which is really pointless in my opinion. It gave me an absolute headache. I wonder if anyone else would agree with me, but this one just gave me a massive headache. And the villains in this, they were just silly and completely crap in my opinion. They were not convincing. They were just three annoying people. And yet the villains in this are called 1, 2 and 3. So the villain names are very lazy, as you can see. 1, 2 and 3. There were some of the villains. They were just laughing around being idiots. So yeah, The Abandoned definitely gets last place to me. The story, again, it did have potential. It was sort of well written, but it was a bit of a mess with the villains, and they were quite annoying in my opinion. If you like Edge of Destruction, you may like this, but I just found it so annoying. Anyway, we're moving into 7th place now. Not a lot of people, I think, would rate this one this bad actually, but I actually find this one quite overrated. And number 7 goes to White Ghosts. Now, I was actually thinking this would be a good story, but what's wrong with this one, and the new series suffers with this a lot. It goes too quickly, and it doesn't have enough time to develop the storyline needed with the characters. And what's wrong with White Ghost? It's like a rushed plot. It's like some missile is about to target the planet, and it's like a rush plot, a bit like Galaxy 4, but that handled it very well when it was a 4-parter. But this one, it needs to be a 4-parter because it just cannot get all the storyline. There's multiple things going on with this story, and I have to admit, something unique about this story. But I read the end in blurb. It says, "So don't be afraid of the dark. The cover of the night is a mercy." So if you have listened to this, it has quite a nice twist to it as well. But the darkness protects you, but the light doesn't. So it does sound like a very good story, but to me, I do find it quite of an overrated story. Yeah, I forgot to rate in The Abandoned. I'd probably rate it by there, but I did rate this one a 4 out of 10, and this one I'll probably rate completely average as a 5 out of 10. It's not one of my favourites. So moving on to number 6. Now this was another story actually, which I was thinking would be absolutely fantastic because it features one of my favourite villain of all time, and that one is the Evil One. Now I was going to think this one is absolutely a fantastic story since it's written by Nicholas Briggs, and he handled Dark Eyes. He written the whole of the original Dark Eyes 1, fantastically, and that has been known as the best Big Finish series ever, and it's definitely one of my favourites. But what was wrong with this one? It would, again, like White Ghost for example, it needed more time to explain its story, and the supporting cast, the characters had no character development. They were just used for about literally minutes, and then they were just completely killed off, and that sort of annoyed me. They just completely used characters and they were absolutely useless. These creatures right by here, I don't know how to pronounce their name, so I'm not going to bother pronouncing their name, but they were just used for the Master's puppets, but not anything else, and they didn't have enough character development either. I wanted more character development with the humans and these, because they did have quite a good subplot, but it was just a subplot which didn't really get focused on a lot. But the main plot, yeah, it was actually quite something different. They focused more on Leela's father and more like that, and a lot more character development like that. It was really good with the character development, and Leela, Louise Jameson, is definitely top performances go to her. She was fantastic in this story, and she plays the most significant part of the story of the Evil One. The Master was good in this, but I found him very laid back. He sort of liked to sit down, and he was just a very laid back villain in this. He didn't really do that much. I wish he did a little bit more, but he was sort of laying back, letting these bug creatures do the work, and well, I won't say what else is doing the work because that'd be a spoiler. But yeah, it's a good story. 6 out of 10 I would give it. I think I'm being generous giving it a 6 out of 10, but yeah, you may like it, but it's got some problems. So moving on to number 5, and I wish I rated it. I'm quite thinking about saying this, but I thought this one would be one of the best from the season 3 of Tom Baker Adventures, but again, it has problems with it, and Zygon Hunt for number 5. I didn't think I'd be rating this bad, but again, it's quite a good story, this one is, but it's the sequel to Terror of the Zygon, so it follows on from that, and still the plot's sort of the same from Terror of the Zygon. So if the Zygons are your favourite monsters ever, or you like Terror of the Zygons, then this one is definitely recommended for you. But again, it does have some problems. Episode 1, I find it very pointless. It didn't do much, just running around, getting captured. I won't say who's getting captured or anything, and the Zygons are barely even featured in it, and the characters, well, some of the characters do get quite good development, but the rest just don't get hardly any development, and they're just used just for the fun of it, really. But in episode 2 it starts to build up a little bit more, but the Zygons are barely even featured in it. Not as big as threat from Terror of the Zygons, and might be my least favourite Zygon story I actually got. Terror of the Zygons is probably still at number 1, then the 50th, then this one. I think this one's been overhyped a lot, because everyone loves the Zygons. I personally do love the Zygons, but this one has just been, it's just been over the top, the story with people's minds, and it's just been overhyped. It's not the best story in the world, but if you like the Zygons, I would say you would like the story. So moving on to number 4, and this story here I thought was going to be great, and it did turn out great. We're getting to some of the really good ones now. These don't really have problems, and yet Zygon Hunt I did rate 7 out of 10. I still think I've been a bit generous to that. But next one we have The Crooked Man, and this one was just brilliant. It was kind of a disturbing story, this one. The Crooked Man reminded me a lot like the Mine Robber, and if you're a fan of the Mine Robber, like fictional characters and all like that, this story might intrigue you. This is a lot of people's favourites from Season 3, it's like at the top. This is a lot of people's favourites from Season 3, or their favourite Tom Baker audio of all time. So yeah, I would definitely recommend this one. The Crooked Man, he is such a good villain. He's really disturbing. There's one really disturbing scene of it, where the Crooked Man is with, actually I won't say it because it'd be a spoiler, but it's quite disturbing, and how he kills people is very disturbing as well. But the only concern I have over this audio is that the Crooked Man's voice, I wasn't really that thingy about his voice, really. I wanted it to be really dark, I mean powerful, something like that, or really devious. But it wasn't what I was expecting to be the Crooked Man's voice. There's something more, I don't know, more creepier, I guess, but it sounded like, I don't really like the Crooked Man's voice in this one. But yeah, John Dorney is a very talented writer. His stories are great, and the Crooked Man's brilliant. Everyone is on top performances here. The characters are brilliant, and yeah, if you're a fan of the Mine Robber, this story you will love the Mine. Even though I find the Mine Robber quite overrated, but this one is great. Absolutely fantastic. Now moving into 3rd place. Now, not a lot of people would probably rate this one 3rd place, but in my opinion, but this is a writer which I really respect, and the writer is Jonathan Morris, and this is his story, Last of the Colophon. This story, in my opinion, was absolutely fantastic. I would probably rate this one. Actually, I'll put it in the title by there. This one was absolutely great. This one was a very spooky, transparent story. I find this one. The villain in this. The villain is called Morax. He is just a great villain, like a more powerful sort of villain, like Sutak. But at the start, actually no, I won't really say that. But the Doctor and Leela land on a completely completely deserted planet. There's nothing going on but just sand and that. But they see a building in the background. If you can see right by there, maybe the explosion might tell you something at the end of the story. But yeah, this one was really good. A really creepy and really creepy and great villain in this. I like the soundscape in this one. The sound was brilliant, and I love what Morax says to one of the characters. He says, "I'm right behind you," in a whispering voice, and it was so creepy, and it echoes around the base and all the building, and it was so good. Last of the Colophon, and it lasted at a really good pace, and I was clinged to the story. It was brilliant, and I would definitely recommend this one. I don't think this is like a lot of people's favourites, but this one I just think it's absolutely great. I respect Jonathan Morris's writing. The reason why I like this writer so much because of the past and 8th Doctor books. I think he written some Virgin books, I can't remember, but he's just such a good writer in my opinion. Definitely recommended. I would rate this one an 8 out of 10. Spot on. I also rate the Crooked Man 8 out of 10, but I prefer the Colophon a bit more. So moving at number 2, we only have 2 stories left. Destroy the Infinite, and the first one, the King of Sontar. So, which one gets second place? If you know me personally, you know which one my number 1 is. Have a guess. Well, if you said number 2 was the King of Sontar, then you are correct. Yeah, the King of Sontar, which was the opener to Season 3. I have actually reviewed this one, so I actually might say a little bit more about this one. This one features like a different sort of thing to the Sontarans. They're a lot unique in this story. They wanted to focus on something a bit different on the Sontarans, and that was General Strang. And General Strang is such a brilliant Sontaran. He just puts back the power of the Sontarans, and this is what Sontarans are supposed to be like. And yeah, even like the other Sontarans are great as well. Not as much feature, but it's mostly focused on General Strang's storyline. I will say how General Strang evolved. There was a temporal glitch in the cloning device and the cloning machine. Sorry, and it was supposed to be a squad, but it infused into this one big Sontaran. And it's clever how they did that. That the cloning device glitched and it created this massive Sontaran, a different sort of Sontaran. And his storyline's great. He's such a threatening Sontaran, and yeah, he's just fantastic. This is a great story. All the characters are on top performances, has great characters, and highly recommended. That one, I did rate an 8.5 in my review, but I rate it a 9. Great. And at number 1, yes, it is, of course, Destroy the Infinite. This one was so good. This one just blew my breath away. This one actually features one of my favourite monsters of all time, and these monsters are called the Eminence, and the Eminence are a foe from Dark Eyes, and they are one of the most powerful villains in Doctor Who has ever done. They created one of the most powerful ships ever created, called the Infinite, and if the Doctor did not stop the Infinite, or whatever they did not stop the Infinite, oh dear, it would have caused so much havoc around the universe. And what I like about this story so much, that it just shows the complete power of the Eminence, and the Doctor wished he never met the Eminence. He was so afraid of the Eminence, he never actually met them, and he had a great speech that the Eminence would consume all these galaxies and become the top species, and just make every single race a slave to them and let them be gods, or as they like to call them, demons. Destroy the Infinite is a fantastic story. This one is a straight 10 for me. It's one of my favourite audios of all time. Cannot recommend this one enough. Absolutely fantastic characters, a fantastic foe, and this one is the prequel to the Eminence, so if you want to get all the backstory to them, then this is the story you want to check out. If you are the fan of Dark Eyes, then you probably are intrigued about the story, or the Seeds of War, which follows on from that, which I'm definitely getting. So yeah, Destroy the Infinite is my favourite Doctor Who story from Doctor Who Tom Baker's story from Season 3. So thank you very much for watching my Big Finish overview of Tom Baker Season 3. Tell me your list in the comments, or do a video reaction if you collect Tom Baker Season 3. I'm definitely intrigued to see which one's your favourites, which one you don't like, which one you find overrated, which one is your favourite. And yeah, put it in the comments down below. If you want any Big Finish recommendations, you can of course put that in the description, since I am very addicted to Big Finish stuff. I've got to calm down on Big Finish stuff because I am going to Comic-Con in Cardiff, so I've got to keep the money down because I have no money for Comic-Con. Even though I'll probably buy Big Finish stuff there, so so thank you very much for watching the video. My next video will be, I think it'll be a review of Thin Ice. Yeah, you can check my About section if you want to see what videos are coming up. So thank you very much for watching. TG Productions signing off.